Welcome to Testpassport.com. In this video, I will share real AZ-102 questions and answers with you. If you have passed 70 to 533 exam and want to earn new Azure Administrator certification, you need to pass AZ-102 exam. 1. You need to define a custom domain name for Azure AD to support the planned infrastructure. Which domain name should you use? A. humongousInsurance.onmicrosoft.com. B. humongousInsurance, local. C. ad.humongousInsurance.com. D. humongousInsurance.com. Answer, D. 2. Which blade should you instruct the finance department auditors to use? A. Cost analysis. B. Usage plus quotas. C. External services. D. Payment methods. Answer, B. 3. You have an Azure subscription that contains 100 virtual machines. You regularly create and delete virtual machines. You need to identify unattached disks that can be deleted. What should you do? A. From Azure Cost Management, open the Optimizer tab and create a report. B. From Azure Cost Management, create a cost management report. C. From Microsoft Azure Explorer, view the account management properties. D. From the Azure portal, configure the advisor recommendations. Answer, C. 4. You create an Azure Storage account named contosostorage. You plan to create a file share named data. Users need to map a drive to the data file share from home computers that run Windows 10. Which outbound port should you open between the home computers and the data file share? A. AD. B. 443. C. 445. D. 3389. Answer, C. 5. You are building a custom Azure Function app to connect to Azure Event Grid. You need to ensure that resources are allocated dynamically to the function app. Billing must be based on the executions of the app. What should you configure when you create the function app? A. The Windows operating system and the app service plan hosting plan. B. The Docker container and an app service plan that uses the B1 pricing tier. C. The Docker container and an app service plan that uses the S1 pricing tier. D. The Windows operating system and the consumption plan hosting plan. Answer, D. 6. You have an Azure Service Bus. You need to implement a Service Bus queue that guarantees first in first out FIFO delivery messages. What should you do? A. Set the max size setting of the queue to 5 GB. B. Enable duplicate detection. C. Set the lock duration setting to 10 seconds. D. Enable sessions. E. Enable partitioning. Answer, D. 7. You have an Azure subscription named Subscription 1 and 2 Azure Active Directory Azure AD tenants named Tenant 1 and Tenant 2. Subscription 1 is associated to Tenant 1. Multi-factor authentication (MFA) is enabled for all the users in Tenant 1. You need to enable MFA for the users in Tenant 2. The solution must maintain MFA for Tenant 1. What should you do first? A. Configure the MFA server setting in Tenant 1. B. Transfer the administration of Subscription 1 to a global administrator of Tenant 2. C. Create and link a subscription to Tenant 2. D. Change the directory for Subscription 1. Answer, C. 8. You have an Azure DNS zone named adatum.com. You need to delegate a subdomain named research.adatum.com to a different DNS server in Azure. What should you do? A. Create an A record named *research in the adatum.com zone. B. Modify the SOA record of adatum.com. C. Create an PTR record named research in the adatum.com zone. D. Create an NS record named research in the adatum.com zone. Answer A. 9. You are the global administrator for an Azure Active Directory Azure AD tenant named adatum.com. You need to enable two-step verification for Azure users. What should you do? A. Configure a playbook in Azure AD conditional access policy. B. Create an Azure AD conditional access policy. C. Create and configure the Identify Hub. D. Install and configure Azure AD Connect. Answer B. 10. You have two Azure virtual networks named VNet1 and VNet2. VNet1 contains an Azure virtual machine named VM1. VNet2 contains an Azure virtual machine named VM2. VM1 hosts a front-end application that connects to VM2 to retrieve data. Users report that the front-end application is slower than usual. You need to view the average round-trip time (RTT) of the packets from VM1 to VM2. Which Azure Network Watcher feature should you use? A. NSG flow logs. B. Connection troubleshoot. C. IP flow verify. D. Connection monitor. Answer D.